I thought my neighbor was helping save my marriage until I found her wearing my husband's hoodie. When Sophie moved in next door, I genuinely thought she was the answer to my prayers. She was funny, confident, beautiful, and somehow always available when I needed help. My husband, Daniel, liked her immediately. Honestly, everybody did. At first, it was harmless. She'd come over for coffee while Daniel worked from home. Sometimes she'd bring over baked goods. Sometimes she'd sit on our patio and vent about dating disasters while Daniel laughed at all her stories. I trusted her completely. That was my first mistake. The second mistake was ignoring the little things, like how Daniel suddenly cared what shirt he wore to take the bins out, or how Sophie somehow always showed up whenever I was working late. Then one night, I came home early from work, and I saw Sophie's car parked in my driveway. I remember thinking maybe she'd dropped something off, maybe Daniel was helping her move furniture. I walked inside quietly and heard laughing upstairs, not normal laughing, flirting, the kind you instantly recognize when you've been married long enough. I walked into my own bedroom and found my husband sitting on the edge of the bed while Sophie wore his hoodie. Nobody spoke. Daniel looked horrified. Sophie didn't. She just slowly stood there like she'd already decided she'd won. I wish I could say I screamed, but honestly, I just felt embarrassed, like the whole neighborhood probably knew before I did. Daniel kept saying, "It's not what it looks like," which is fascinating because it looked exactly like an affair. I left that night, but here's the part nobody expected. I didn't fight for him, not even a little, because once the shock wore off, I started noticing something interesting. Daniel suddenly had to deal with Sophie full time, and Sophie only liked married men because they came with stability. The second he moved into her house permanently, everything changed. She hated how messy he was. He hated how much money she spent. They fought constantly. Meanwhile, I quietly rebuilt my life. I got promoted at work, started going out again, started laughing again, and 6 months later, Daniel showed up at my door crying, actually crying. He told me Sophie was different now. I almost laughed in his face. Different? No, you just finally met the version of her I was protecting you from. Then came the best part. A week later, Sophie knocked on my door. Apparently, Daniel had been flirting with another woman at his office. And suddenly, Sophie was devastated about cheating. The irony nearly killed me. She asked, "Did he ever do this while you were together?" I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "You mean before or after he cheated with you?" She burst into tears, and for the first time in months, I slept perfectly. The woman who stole my husband eventually learned something important. If they cheat with you, they'll cheat on you.